Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Today, one of my colleagues, Christian Theriault, is here to present some information about MediTech. Good morning, Christian. Thank you for being here today. Why don't you introduce us to the group and talk to us about this shareables today for MediTech?
Morning, everybody. Happy to be here. My name is Christian Theriault. I'm the central office trainer. Specifically do the Meditech and Hixis training for DDS, and I've done so for 16 years. Today, what we're going to be talking about is specifically discharging. Two different types of discharging, one of death and of the state. They're different in the processes in Meditech, so we're going to cover. Also, we're going to be talking about discharging, discharges, and undoing discharges. Those are specifically now done by DDS Help Desk. They're no longer staff. It's no longer. It's been tech. So why don't we jump right in? I'm going to share my Meditech page. Also going to share software accessed online. So here's my Meditech screen. Okay. There's only about maybe 3 people at each area office that have user interface that I'm showing right now. So in order to do the discharging process, you have to have edit eligibility as well as discharge in your navigation bar before each office that have that view. Area director who has just discharge but not part of the process, or person who doesn't have discharging but has edit. So it's easier to assign discharging to the both edit and discharge. So what we're going to do first is we're going to do discharging due to death. So I'm to sailing before 6 here. And the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to go into SC values, service coordinator values, to make. So you're going to click on the section, add, arrow again, click on inactive. Active date should be the date of death. I'm just going to use today's date. Save. Step 2, discharge. So we're going to go into discharge on the right. Once again, we're going to hit down arrow next to status. Click on deceased. Status state, that's a different process. We're going to cover deceased. Once again, you would put death. Today, we're just going to save. Two things that are going to change. Go right back into SC values for sailing before 6. It's going to give you a message saying the person is discharged and it's expired. Continue. Now the status up top of SC values says deceased, which say. Also, if you hit the plus next to to view service enrollments, is that all the programs have been completed or ended automatically discharge process. So the individual, or excuse me, the user does not have to go into each program and that's done automatically discharge feature. So the next step is going to be changing or up process. Now, in the discharge process, if a message comes up, look like this. Bar application charges exist after the discharge date entered. Program, please contact the help desk for assistance. Before doing the discharging for that month, you want to make sure the billing has already been done. So if you discharge before the get that error message letting you know, in which case you should contact this help desk, this management. Process. So we're going to go into edit eligibility. Once again, discharged. It's going to hit continue yes. PAC, which stands for process decision. Click on the eligibility status and whatever status was in there. Next, choose ineligible by circumstance. Decision and effective date both should be the date of death. Once again, tab down. So I'm sorry. Choose who's actually inputting this discharge, and I'm just going to choose myself. Just a reason for choose deceased. Save. Then now cease discharge by death. Salem before 6, and you'll notice now there is an X to the individual name, which designates discharge. Next, we're going to do the discharging moving out of state. So we're going to click on Salem after 6. To once again go to SC values. Active. Date of death should be inputted, but today we once again used date. Save. Next, we go down discharge. Status, drop down. This time we're not going to choose deceased, we're going to choose moved out of state. It should be inputted once again. Save. So in the event of discharging out of state, don't want to update the eligibility status right after the discharge if the person is not a class member. Update the eligibility status 3 years after they have moved out of state. Someone may not be discharged due to out of state if they to a shared living, for example. We'll still provide services sometimes. People go out of state temporarily. out of state temporarily to discharge the individual. Once again, you also want to make sure that the done before discharged. If you do discharge before billing is complete, you once again get that error, in which case you'll have to call DDS. That. So reversing the discharge status of an individual in MediTech, situations where you'd want to discharge status from somebody is because the discharge button was clicked for the wrong individual, for example. 8 was used, discharge button was clicked. For example, if you put person moved out of state but has returned and the person still has a status of discharged in MediTech. If you try to discharge, you'll get a no access to the discharge removal routines. That once again has been changed. Used to be able to help them. So the remove discharge and the discharge, there's two different types of removing discharge. Remove discharge, this action will remove discharge status from the consumer and make the consumer active in MediTech, not open all the enrollments ended by the discharge. Discharge, which is kind of a reverse, if you will. This action will remove discharge status from the consumer, make the consumer active in MediTech, also reopen that were closed for discharge. And the person's that were ending. If you aren't sure which process to request, that's okay. Just explain the situation when you ticket with DDS customer service, and the business analyst assigned will process for you. So unless anybody has any other questions, that concludes the discharge tutorial. And thank you for coming.
Okay, thank you very much, Christian. Thanks for being here. Have a wonderful day.
You too.